and then you'll die.
Welcome back to the Trail Mix. This is episode 3, and I am Philip, aka Trail Mix, and you know my co-host Steven the Navigator. We're very happy that you're here with us. If you'd like this, if you like our content, hit that like, share it, all that other good stuff. But all that aside, we hope you enjoy the show. So, Steven, what are we talking about today?
So I thought we would talk about Jesus / homelessness / backpacking. So here's my train of thought. This is where we've picked out all the chocolate out of the trail mix and we're just left with nuts. So we're going to go crazy today. So I listened to some serious rabbit hole podcast, if you will. I get tired of all the political hoopla and everything. So I'm like, there's got to be, and I hear ads for different things, on the, for commercials on the podcast. So I got bumping around looking for things, and I like true crime. Right? I know maybe you like it too. I don't know. It's kind of fun to listen to. I mean, it's a sad deal, but it's like, wow, it's like it's a whodunit. It's a podcast. I'm kind of hooked to it because it's like you get to listen to a whodunit all day long. It's like, oh man, did this guy do it? Did that guy do it? But it's true. It's real. So, anyways, the other day, I guess it was yesterday, I was just trying to brainstorm about what we're going to talk about today. And I'm just like, I got nothing because I'm trying to work a lot and because I'm trying to get caught up so I can go away tomorrow. And I did, and my brain's fried. And I'm like, so I text my wife. I'm like, my wife's brilliant. I'm like, babe, what? I need a subject to talk about. So she's like, you should talk about your maps and Jesus and how following God and following your maps. I'm like, that's a good one. So she's like, I'll think of some more stuff. I'm like, all right. So I'm thinking about that. And I'm listening to my podcast this morning. And I need to finish it yesterday. So I finished this morning. Then it leads into another true story. And they're talking about homelessness. And I'm like, homelessness? I'm like, Jesus is homeless. And right. So true crime podcast. I think that's what it's called. Oh, it's called Crime Busters. So I just plug them whenever. They're fun. It's a couple chicks that talk about true crime all day. Yeah. And it's just kind of neat. I heard. Anyways, so I'm like, homelessness. I've always wondered, I'm like, there's my two things. I'm like, did Jesus ever tell a joke? And where did he stay all the time? So, and if you know me, I'm like, I can literally stay just about anywhere. I know Philip would probably say just about anywhere for a couple of backpacking fools. Mm-hmm. So what did Jesus do? And I like to tell jokes too, and prank and goof off. And so those are my two things. I'm like, did Jesus ever pull a prank or make anybody laugh or anything? Or what did he do? I'm like, there's no Motel 8. No, not Motel 8. Motel 6. Shows you how much. So, and just pull his. I mean, he never wrote anything. I mean, he wrote a donkey one time that was recorded that we know of.
Right.
He walked everywhere. Everybody walked everywhere. So, and you and I like to walk everywhere every chance we get, especially when we're, because the places we go, you can only walk to. So,
right.
My eye. So that's the subject I thought we could talk about today. What kind of life? How simple was his life? He just kind of walked around and did whatever and recruited people and preached on mountaintops and hillsides, and he's just he didn't have a building. I mean when he got when they went to Jerusalem one time with his parents, he dished out on his parents,
Yeah.
earthly parents, and they went looking for him. And he's like, "Well, where have you been?" And, we're looking all over for you. And he's like, "Well, I've been in my father's house, So,
Hmm.
um, well, now you just kind of there's no. It's not like there was a barbecue at Jesus' house. It's not like he had a house. He went home to him every night,
Right.
or
Yeah. Yeah.
So he was always like hanging out in a garden or walking down a dirt road. I mean, they're all dirt back then, but yeah. So that's kind of my thought, and that pretty much crosses over to backpacking. I keep looking over
Right.
this way. I don't know if I'm looking at you or I keep waiting for a fish to jump out of the water behind me. um, yeah. So that's my line of thought for the day, and how I think that somehow I'm going to make it convert into backpacking today if we can do that because we can. So all the
Right.
chocolate's gone. So you're just um, and so it's like when we go backpacking, like, but I mean, Jesus was like the ultimate backpacker.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't
Absolutely.
even backpacking. Like he was like beyond ultralight. He was just ultra. He like
Yeah.
had nothing what he was wearing. He just like yeah, people just fed him or he just showed up at your house and they're like,
Hmm.
hey, come on in. You do that now, you're probably gonna have the cops called on you.
Yeah. Right.
So it's like, I mean, Jesus was the ultimate backpacker. Like he was, woo. Yeah, so that's my kind of. What do you think about
It,
that?
it's interesting because um like you said, you other than I'm sure Mary and Joseph had a home, you know, and but aside from that, he was, I guess I don't really know, it's like because there's probably all kinds of studies and papers and stuff written that will talk about maybe what he might have done, you know, but like you said, he was the ultimate in ultralight because he didn't carry anything with him. God provided everything he needed while he was, you know, wherever he was or while he was en route to wherever he was going. And you talk about if Jesus ever told a joke. I gotta wonder if you know.
I bet he was like the best joke teller.
Oh, absolutely, yeah,
Like, dude, you
absolutely,
gotta hear this.
yeah. Well, and like all the times the Pharisees tried to trap him,
Yeah.
I have to think that you know the way that he replied to them, there had to have been somebody around that was hearing that going, like
Yeah.
like some of the disciples that may have understood that they were trying to trap him, but didn't understand until they realized what he had said to them and why he had said it, and but no, I agree. I think Jesus was probably had the greatest sense of humor you could imagine.
Uh, I would hope so. I mean, yeah. There's this guy. I can't remember what his name is. He's on one of my playlists for Pandora, and his name's Steven. His last name starts with an F. I'm not sure if I can even try to pronounce
Hmm.
it properly without getting in trouble. I didn't look at it because it's yeah. Anyways, so he talks about stuff like that kind of. He you know, I'm trying to paraphrase here. You know, it's Jesus, it's heaven and hell, right or wrong, blah blah. But it's like he talks about like in the beginning, like how good it was. Like you're in a garden, you're rivers of gold, you run around, nudie Rudy, and you don't know it, and how what it used to be like before
Right.
we messed up. So it's like I forgot where I was going with this, but and so I mean, we weren't ignorant back then, but it was like that. I want to think things were kind of fun a little bit. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I'm gonna put it out there. Like, I think things were kind of fun. They're just like, hey, you know,
Yeah.
yeah, you had nothing to do except hang out with God. Because you read it in the Bible, like he comes down in the afternoon looking for Adam,
Yeah.
and they're just all hanging out. So that tells me prior to that, one would have to assume that they're just hanging out.
Right.
I mean, you're
Yeah.
hanging out with God in the garden, like, hey, what's going on? You know, I don't know if they said what's going on. Everybody knew what was going on, but he knew what was going on. But I don't know how long
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
lasted. But
Well,
um,
well, yeah. I mean, when you talk about the garden, when I mean, you have one rule, and that was you can't eat of the fruit of the tree of life, and that was it.
yeah,
You know, I mean, everything else was go swim in a river or whatever.
yeah.
Name this animal. You know?
How fun would that be?
Oh man.
You're a platypus. How'd you
Yeah.
name that? Where did that come from? You're a platypus. Platypus. Are you serious?
Right. Yeah, because
Anyway,
I kind of envision God that same kind of way. That you know I know this is kind of a um whatever you want to call it, but in Bruce Almighty, how have you ever seen that with um Morgan Freeman played God,
oh
and
yeah,
Jim Carrey and whatever. Well, when Jim Carrey first meets God, he's Jim Carrey's tempting God. He's like, well, if you are God, how many fingers do I got behind my back?
yeah.
And so he he's doing the whole thing, 4, 3, 2, 1, whatever. And then he he has both of his hands behind his back, and he changes it after God says what the number is, and it was 7. And he changed it from 7 to 5. And he puts his hand around and goes, "Ha!" And he's got 2 fingers sticking out right here. That's kind of how I picture God, that kind of jokester,
Right.
type of a thing where, because,
Yeah.
I mean, he's God. I mean, how could he not have the greatest sense of humor you've ever seen?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, he created humor. You know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah. No, yeah. He's got to have a sense of humor.
yeah.
Yeah. And so back to the being the homeless, if you will, walking
Mm.
around. I mean, it had to have, like, I can only imagine, like, you have what's recorded in the Bible, and it's God's word. But like, what wasn't recorded? I mean, I know this
Mm-hmm.
can get like really sketchy, so
Right, right.
we're gonna keep it real shallow here and just like kind of, not get crazy. But like, could you just imagine what they're talking about? They're just that wasn't recorded. They're just walking on the road because they
Right.
just walk from place to place and not say anything.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, so
Yeah, and in the same token, it's not like he's got somebody walking behind him writing down literally everything that he's saying. I mean,
oh yeah,
literally
yeah.
writing down every word. No, it didn't. It wasn't like that. So, like you said,
Go ahead.
well, like you said, there's a lot that he had said that wasn't accounted for, in the Bible. And like you said, this gets in really, really sketchy kind of territory. But
Yeah,
you know, I mean, it is what it is. Like you said, it's not like you walked from one side of the world to the other, the world at that time, and didn't say a thing.
yeah.
You know,
Mm.
and so that would be interesting. You know what kind of lessons were given in that time. You know,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that'd be super neat.
yeah,
But one can only speculate.
that's
So
right.
I'm
That's
gonna
right.
leave that one alone.
Yep. Ted. Speculation is just what it is. It's a guess.
It's
Yeah.
usually a bad guess.
Yeah,
So
generally. I mean, it is fun to talk about and think about and whatever, but it's
yeah,
not something to it's not a reason to toss the Bible out, is what I'm saying to all the people that might
Oh
be
yeah.
watching this. Is that if they just because there was conversations or something that wasn't may or may not have been written down, you know,
Yeah.
it's still God inspired. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Jesus said it. So, but
right,
yeah, just the fact that he walked everywhere. I mean, how simple was his life? I mean,
oh
our lives
man,
are so overly complicated.
yeah,
Like, it's insane. Like, we got to have. I think, look at. I'm talking to you on. I call it, the $1,700 paperweight. So it's like I got to have one of my teenage daughters tell me how to use it. So, uh, but yeah, I mean, just like all the things we have, all the things, but Jesus didn't have nothing.
yeah,
But he had everything at the same time.
right, yeah, and
And the
see,
Bible call yeah. Go ahead.
well, that's the thing is that all of the information that we have at our disposal on the internet, say for example, he had an infinitely greater amount of knowledge at his disposal because of his direct connection to the Father. The him and God were one. So, I mean, and like you said, it's such a simple way of life that you're just walking and God tells you go in that house. They'll take care of you, or there's somebody in there that needs preaching to or whatever.
Right.
And to not have, other than that, not to have that kind of oh, I don't even know what to call it. It's not really a burden, but I mean it really is to, because we have our jobs and we have, I mean, pick whatever you want to put on that list.
Yeah.
And he only
Yeah.
had
And
one job.
we're so overly complicated with things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Right.
Jesus, he's walking around he picked up 12 guys. I want to say picked up, he chose 12
Yeah.
guys. Let me rephrase that. Um, it's been a long week.
I
Um,
get you.
so he chose 12 men, and they literally drop what they're doing and follow him
Yeah.
for the rest of their lives. Even
Yep.
after he's gone, they just keep going. And this is kind of this is tough because like he's called us to, if you're going to follow him nowadays, the same rule that applied back then is still in effect now. It still applies
Mm-hmm.
to just drop. I'm going to say drop what you're doing and go follow him. But it's almost like, how do you do that? Do you just literally drop what you're doing and like just walk away from your house, your vehicles, your family, your whole everything, your whole 9 yards, and just
Right.
like, see ya, gonna go follow Jesus? Because if you do that nowadays, everybody, he's crazy, lock him up, blah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
So I mean, it's I don't even know what to say because because there's days I would love just walk away from it. I mean, not every, I love my family, but it's like my job. Oh man, I mean, who doesn't have days where like, get this,
Right. Yes.
But then you're like, well, I got bills to pay and all this other hoopla. So I wish I could just go back in time to find out. Well, I guess we do know where it went wrong, but I was like, I would like to know who came up with the 5 day work week. Like, why 5 days?
Right.
Why not 4? I'm down with 4. Who says we gotta work 8 hours? Let's
Yeah.
drag it out. Let's work 4 days in like 5 hours.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
done.
Right.
Everybody's so greedy. Gotta have money.
Well,
Money.
right, and that I mean that's 100% fact. I mean, a lot of the issues that we're dealing with, that we're talking about right now, I think stems from, things like greed and stuff
Mhm.
like that.
Yeah.
And as far as like dropping everything and following Jesus, I think some people are called to that. Some people do get that that leading um to do that, just literally drop everything. And like I think of um I have a couple of, well, they're not, I haven't seen them in so long that I knew them fairly well back when we lived in Wisconsin. And their entire family, they got that calling. All of them did, all at the same time, and so they literally quit their jobs and they joined, um I forget the name of the missions organization, whatever you want to call it, and they're now translating Bibles in South Africa someplace.
That is super cool.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and the dedication was insane. He learned how to speak French and Baga, I think was the name of the place. I don't remember. Um, but she learned how to speak the native language,
Yeah.
and so it was kind of cool. The church that we went to out there, um, their missions week was last week, and so on Sunday they had this big, kind of, not really a celebration. Apparently, my cat wants to get in the video.
What's up, cat?
Yeah. Um, but they had, the scripture for Sunday morning was read in like 10 different languages. I read in French and whatever the South African language was. I don't remember, but it was awesome to see that the scriptures being read in that so many different languages.
Mm.
But that's the kind of thing that, not everybody has those leadings to just up and leave and go do something like that. Um, because I think of what that, like what it looked like for them back in Jesus' time when he went up to, the first two and said, "Come follow me," and they dropped their fishing nets and they went with him. And so for me, that would look more like, okay, so he'd show up at the sheriff's office and say, "Here, come follow me," and I'd just leave my headset on the back of the chair and go. And that's a really, I wonder if that was as taboo of a thing to do then as it is now. Like, did people look at them guys and say, "What are you guys doing?" Like, you're leaving your job.
Yeah. Well, was their job like? I don't think their job was like what we think of a job now. So they were fishermen, so they caught fresh fish every day,
Right.
obviously, and then probably took it to market to sell
Right.
to have money for whatever. I mean, they might have had a little bit of savings, but these people probably live like from day to day,
Yeah.
which is makes life super interesting if you live from day to day. Like when you're backpacking, you're literally living from day to day.
Yeah.
You could go out on a hike. Like you go hike your destination, then we satellite out, and maybe one time we come back and like something got into your dry bag
Oh yeah, yeah,
in the
yeah. That
middle of the
was.
night. You're like,
Yep.
oh,
Yep. I
food
thought.
everywhere,
Yep. It
people.
was.
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
don't ever. Yeah, it was. But I tell you what, like a bear could have came in that camp last night. That night, I would have just slept through it. I was that tired. I was like,
Well, that was an exceptionally long day.
oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I would very much be happy to not have a long day like that
Yeah, that was a
out there
big
again.
learning. That was a learning day for me,
Yeah.
big time.
Oh yeah, for both of us, that was huge.
Uh,
For,
yeah,
yeah, I mean, it was informative both mentally, physically, and actually kind of emotionally too, really.
it was. Yeah, because like, kind of had to accept the fact that like I may not have, I could have died.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And that was, that was very, in retrospect, I'm very happy and that it happened the way that it did.
Mm-hmm.
It sucked at the time,
Yeah.
but the lessons gleaned from it were huge, like massive, and I guess it wasn't even really lessons that were totally unknown because you always know that things can go south really quickly.
Mm.
But to actually be in a situation where things can seriously go south and actually be in that situation, it really opened my eyes to like, so looking back on it, like, what would have I done? Because it was just the two of us,
Yeah.
and that was I didn't come up with any good answer to that question. There was no good course of action that in the event that you would have totally went down and it's just like there's no good there's no good plan in the situation that we were in, because we had
No.
both just had cell phones, and I would have had to have went what, at least, I don't even know where you would have to hike to get cell service out there. If you'd have to hike all the way out to the trailhead to get service, or if you'd even get service there, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember if there's service there or not. So it wouldn't impress me that day. Looking back on it, was like how just mentally tough we were.
Mm-hmm.
Because we were so 1 ounce of weakness. I knew if I had, I wanted to go. I just wanted to go to sleep so bad. I wanted to shut my eyes, but I knew if I shut my eyes, they probably weren't going to open again. So I was like, yeah, you just literally push past the breaking point. Like we went to like a whole nother level of mental whatever. So
Yeah.
like nowadays I see things and I'm like, whatever, that's nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and I'm prepared for that kind of situation now. That's pretty much, I think that's like 90% of it is your mental preparedness for situations like that. Cause we just went way past our limits,
Yes.
but we're
Yeah.
okay with it now. So
I guess now that we've said this much about it, I guess we should probably fill people in about the whole thing. We it was when we first hiked to Black Canyon Lake, and we I don't remember if we were planning on trying to climb Beartooth that year or not. If we were or we were just we had planned on climbing Thunder Mountain.
I don't remember.
I don't remember
I think
if
we
that was
thought we could
planned.
get to the. Sorry.
No, I just don't remember if that was planned for Beartooth or if that was just something that came about.
I think we kind of thought we could maybe get to the top of Thunder Mountain and just walk without too much problem to the
Maybe
top
that's
of
what
the
it was.
next mountain
Yeah.
over.
Yeah, which we found out was not true.
No, false alarm.
So anyway, we climbed Thunder Mountain, which was, I mean, climbing Thunder Mountain was kind of fun, but it was a little sketch, when you got towards the
Yeah,
top.
yeah,
But
zero trail, nothing.
yeah, yeah, a lot of breaks and whatever. Um,
Mm.
uh, Coming down the back, we stopped at 8 on the top of Thunder Mountain, and then coming down the backside, that's where we messed up. I think we didn't stop and eat or do anything really after that. We just kept trudging on, and
Yeah, I'm surprised we got down the backside without killing ourselves
yeah,
because that was so stinking steep, dude.
yeah,
I still don't know how we made it down there without. I mean, literally one misstep and it's 3,000 feet.
yeah.
Yeah,
Especially you crossing that snowbank.
I had to do it though. I was
Yeah,
like, I'm crossing the snow. I got the brass to do it.
yeah. I did not.
I thought you were nuts for going the direction you went. I'm like, that boy's crazy. I'm not going that way. I'm gonna go across the snow.
Yeah, so we ended up, I don't know how far, we were only, I don't know, how far is it from where we stopped to where we camped?
From where the incident to
Yeah,
base camp,
yeah,
it was like, oh man, it was under a mile. It was under a mile because you could see it with the naked eye.
yeah, yeah.
So it was probably half a mile because I think the lake is like a mile long.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So we were about half a mile from camp.
Yeah, we got about halfway down that lake and everything just kind of caught up and then I guess I'll let you explain your.
So we, like Philip said, so we got down off Thunder Mountain. The terrain, I know I've said it, I'm just repeating myself, but the terrain out there is massive. And we went through stuff that we had never done before. We crossed two glaciers. We bouldered over boulders that were just massive, big as your house. And we just kept going. And we knew we were literally going through terrain we had never seen before, we had never crossed before, going through things we had never even set foot on. And we literally, I myself particularly, I once I get something in my head, this kind of broke me of that habit. Like I'm doing it. I'm just like Kool-Aid coming to the wall. So I knew camp wasn't too far away. I knew we were both tired, but I was like, I pushed myself way. I just sheer exhaustion, total, because everything we'd done that day, we had literally never done before. And probably only a handful of people had ever gone that direction. And like I said, we were half mile from camp, but it was it was brutal. There was literally no trail. Every step was on a boulder. So me personally, I was literally physically beyond exhaustion. And I'm like, I couldn't take it anymore. We crossed this little snow patch, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that
Whenever
was
you cross that
sketch.
snow,
That was.
oh yeah. Because really, you slip out of the snow patch, you literally falling in the water. Like
Yes.
the whole trail that skirts this lake is like one misstep, you fall, you're in the water. And so I'm like, all right, we'll get past this. And it's getting dark, and we could see camp. And I'm like, I gotta take a break, gotta sit down. And I just sat down, and I just wanted to I just physically wanted to give up. I'm done. I got nothing left. I'm mentally spent. I just want to shut my eyes and go to sleep. And I knew in the back of my head, I'm like, if I shut my eyes, I may not come to. And it's a solid day to get back out to hike out. Like, so Philip had to go get somebody. So we're trying to figure out what to do. I tried to I had some venison jerky with me. I like just about threw it up. I couldn't stomach any water, nothing. And Philip's got this fire starter stuff. He's trying to start a fire, like keep me warm. I was smart to bring my rain gear with me, which helps retain body heat. So I managed to put that on. I curled up under some boulders. He's trying to start a fire, and and he just keeps talking to me, and we keep talking to each other. And I just mentally was like fighting, keeping my eyes open. And I wanted no food in my pack. I'm like, I was done. I didn't want anything. I was just like, if I even look at it, I'm gonna throw up. So he finally digs through his pack and he finds this thing called green belly.
Mm.
Now, if you don't know what green belly is, it's really stinking good. So it comes in this. It's like this meal, but it comes in like a bar, and it just happened to be chocolate, and he won it. You won it or you got it in a box or something. You won it or something.
Yeah, one of the officers that worked at the sheriff's office at the time gave me a box of all of his stuff, and there was a bunch of backpacking food in there and stuff. So
Yeah. So he gives me this bar. I'm like, I wanted nothing to do with food. I just wanted to pass out and just. We even like I even told him like, dude, just leave me here. Go back to camp. You get some sleep. I'm gonna try to sleep here, because there was like a boulder I could get up under. And I'm like, I'm still alive in the morning. We'll get out of here. So that's literally the conversation Philip and I had. So he's like, I'm not leaving here to die. I'm not gonna left camp. Blah blah. I'm like, you just whatever. He's like, try this. So he's digging through his pack. He finds his bar. He's like, try it. So it smelled like chocolate and diesel fuel, right? So I'm just like trying to nibble on it because it's like something I didn't have. I haven't had in a couple days. So I'm just like kind of nibbling on it. And like literally nibbling like a mouse on a piece of cheese or something. And this went on for, oh man, this went on forever. Like it literally got so dark. We had to navigate by the stars. We couldn't like see anything. So I started to feel better. I was able to keep down some water and keep this bar down. And I'm like, and I told Phil, I'm like, all right, how long did we sit there? Like a couple of hours or so,
Oh
right?
man,
Seemed like
yeah, it
eternity.
had to have been a couple
Because it was
hours.
light when we stopped. And now it's
Yeah.
like literally the middle of the night. So I'm like, all right, I think I feel better. Let's go. Grab your headlamp. And he's like, I don't have a headlamp. And I'm like,
I have one now.
he has one now. Let me tell you what. So for the net, how long did it take us? 2 hours?
It was
2 or
at
3 hours?
least two. I thought it was more
I
like
didn't.
three.
I didn't think you're right. It's more like three. So we were in the dark. So I would go. I put my headlamp on. We left our packs there. Like we didn't have really anything in our packs. It was like just enough to. We had just enough food to get up the mountain and get down. So we stashed our packs, and I grabbed my headlamp, and we started bouldering again, like just super slow. I would go like 10, 15 yards, and then I would turn around so he could see. And this went on for 3 hours. We got lost in a boulder pile. We get almost to camp. I light up what turned out to be a fox. So when we get to camp, we turn on our lights. Then he gotten into Philip's dry bag, food everywhere. We had to build it. And then like we're above 9,000 feet. So like the wood up there, if there's any wood, is terrible wood because it's subalpine wood. It won't burn. But we finally got a fire started. Threw all this food in there. But, salvaged what we could. Burned everything. Cleaned it like we're on our fingers. I went back to camp and like so now we can get into our dry bags. And so we're trying to clean up. And we also had electrolyte stuff. I think you had electrolyte stuff. I didn't have electrolyte stuff. Philip had some. We got back to camp and we put it in some water and I had that. I was feeling better. And I'm just, yeah, I think it was like 3 in the morning,
It
right?
was, yes. It was like
And we had
two or
started at
three.
like probably 6 or 7 the previous morning. So we've been up for like almost 20. Oh, I don't know. We were up like 19 hours straight, something like that. I drank that, felt good. Well, felt halfway human. We had a fire going. He's burning food. Bacon bits are kind of fun to watch burn, by the way.
Yeah, I forgot about
But
that burning food
anyways,
stuff.
uh, so I passed out. I was happy to wake up in the morning. I can tell you that. I felt pretty good. And so anyway, yeah, we learned a lot on that. We learned, and now we bring all kinds of different things that we've learned to where to take breaks, how to take breaks, what to eat when you take breaks.
Hmm.
There's a place we could write a book. So from that one experience,
Yeah,
so that
yeah.
hopefully that never happens again. But yeah, that was a huge learning curve.
Yes, yes, it was.
Yeah, one that almost killed one of us. So, but we're not afraid anymore. So I'm like, whatever. You're like, oh, I'm stuck out in the woods. I'm like, I'll come get you.
Right. Yeah, it definitely it, was humbling, but I don't. This isn't going to make any sense. It was a humbling experience, but it boosted our confidence.
Oh, that
You
makes
know what I
perfect
mean?
sense.
It,
Yeah, yeah.
it's because now, if that same situation were to happen now or happen again, one or both of us would be more than prepared for that. You know what I mean? It's like, and plus we know to that the that's part of the thing is learning what your body's warning signs are. You know that, hey, you need to start thinking about a water break or whatever.
Yeah,
Um,
totally. Just the fact that we um what was the line you used as you're getting a big drink there? It was what, but humbling?
it was humbling. It was a humbling
Um,
experience, but it boosted our confidence.
right, right. So you can totally we're gonna jump to the opposite end of the spectrum here. You can totally use that for that's what God does. Because it's like you you hear so many times you're like, I don't even know what to do. You're like, you just bottomed out in life.
Mm.
Like we did on the trail. I just bottomed out from sheer exhaustion. You're doing things and you're seeing things you've never seen before. You don't know what to do. You think you can do it on your own, and you just keep banging forward, and you physically and mentally give out because you're on your own, and you can't be on your own. You think you can be on your own. Even if I had Philip with me, Philip can only do so much,
Mm-hmm.
and but if you just give it to God and have God, and He will get you through. Fortunately, I want. What am I going to say? I don't know if I can. Oh, I want to sneeze. Don't sneeze on camera. um, I just lost my thought. I was thinking about this. Anyways, if you got, if you just give it to you with God, you're like, I don't know what to do anymore. Kind of like what I did. I didn't know what to do. Philip kept me going. He kept talking to me. He kept trying to get some sort of food in me. And so God, God can help you with that. I mean, you're bottomed out. He will help you. You just need to turn to Him, and He'd be like, "All right, are you done messing around? Because um, I'm here to help you, and I want to help you." So I'm not comparing Philip
You know,
to God
no,
by any. So let's
no,
get
no.
that straight. Like, and at that particular moment in time, God had given Philip the strength and the
Yes,
knowledge to keep my sorry butt alive.
yes.
So yeah,
Mm.
so that's how which and it. And this is gonna sound really weird, but I don't care what you think. Like the bond between Philip and I is like I trust Philip with my life, hands down. Don't even think twice about it. And so there's only a couple other people I would, maybe one other person I would say that about. So um, yeah. So I mean, it strengthens your relationship with God. It gets you to rely on Him more, and it gives you the
Yeah.
knowledge so you can be like, all right, I got through that with this, but you gave me this to help me get through it. So now you know if you go through that situation again, or you see someone going through that situation, you know what to do. You can help them. You like Philip had some food and water I'd never had before, and that helped me. God has food and water for you, aka the Bible, His knowledge, His wisdom. You just need to talk to Him. He'll help you out.
That's right.
Hopefully that makes sense to people out there.
Made perfect sense to me.
That's what I'm talking
You
about.
know that I mean, because that's this whole story. It's all just a big picture of um, kind of how it's a picture the best that we can describe of how God can help you through any situation that you're facing. You know, even the fact that there was like Stephen talked about following the stars to get back to camp. It was because there was a saddle in that right above where our camp was, and there was a break in the clouds the whole time, and there was a star right in that saddle, and that was God just said, "Yep, this is the way. This is the
Yeah,
way you need to
he's
go."
he's telling the truth, people. He's not making that up. I was there.
So I
Because
mean,
I even got off kilter a couple times, and they felt like, nope, that's the dip. There's the star. We got to go that direction because our base camp was literally at the bottom of that dip where the star was. So
right, right, and that God does that with us in our lives, even not out in the back country. And I mean, there God always gives you that saddle and that star, no matter what your situation is. You just have to be willing to, or you have to be you have to be aware enough to see it and acknowledge it, and which can be kind of hard to do in certain circumstances. But
true. But you kind of have to like take yourself out of it. You gave like, all right, I can't do this anymore. I don't know what to do. I need help. You have to admit you need help.
Yeah.
You can't just like keep going forward and keep because if we hadn't, I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna keep doing this. I would not be sitting here talking to you. I can guarantee you that. So, yeah, you have, and the same applies in your spiritual life. If you're trying, or your regular life, we really like backpacking, so that's a huge part of our life. But like, that's not a huge part of everybody else's life. But like your day to day for normal people, if you will, you gotta, yeah, you can continue to bottom out and just keep being, knucklehead about things, or you can just eventually you're gonna bottom out regardless.
yeah,
But like, why keep digging the hole when you can go get some help?
right.
It's like driving your truck into the mud. Sooner or later you're gonna get stuck, and you're gonna need help. You can't get out. I've done it. Sometimes you get out, sometimes you don't get out, and you need help, and you need to learn from that also.
That's right.
Those are our analogies. Our analogies are down to earth. They're not something that's earth shattering,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
which we try to be as relatable as possible. So
yeah. 'Cause, it's like Steven said, our analogies are not what you would say are academic. Yeah,
academic.
they're very real world, you know, and that's what God lays on your heart. That, and that's what it is that whole saddle and star thing that I've held on to that since that day, you know, and
I actually use it all the time now when I go hunt because I'm like, particularly when I go duck hunt, because there's a saddle and there's two big dead trees. There's only one now, but um, yeah, I know if I walk straight into that saddle, I'm gonna walk right into the path that takes me through the woods. That takes me right to the. So yeah. So I'm always like, I've always used landmarks, but now I'm like super about landmarks.
mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah,
so ever since then.
yep,
So let God be your landmark. Let Him be your star in the sky, and He will get you. I know that sounds a little cliche, but I don't care.
cliche or not, it's true.
It's totally true.
Yeah,
So, yeah. If you think life is boring because you believe in God or you're going to get ridiculed, you're doing it wrong.
yeah,
I mean, yeah, the people may poke fun at you, but it is not boring by any means.
no.
And it's pretty wild, actually. So just look at us.
Yeah,
We don't lead boring lives.
no,
We're not extreme sport guys, but we know we're a little older, we're a little wiser, but
that's
we know how to have fun in the woods, in the mountains. So
right. Yeah, it doesn't. You don't have to be an extreme. We probably see some way cooler things and some way more beautiful things, than Um, stupid cat. Than a lot of people do. Because of the backpacking, I mean, it's where we were at last year, where we saw the cool uh, moss and stuff. I don't know how many people have been back over there,
Sure.
but it just having just following Jesus and having God in your life is exciting. It's I think people have this stereotype of a Christian that they're the three-piece suit wearing sticks in the mud stuff and whatever, but I know I had that view back when, but we can I can that is for another episode maybe, but
Yeah.
The ridicule thing, yeah, you're gonna have that just because that's the world we live in. I mean, it's becoming more and more anti not well it's not so much anti I wouldn't say it's anti-Christian, but it's definitely they make it difficult for you to voice your opinions and not get the raked over the coals by somebody.
Oh, dude, yeah. Or you do say something, or you get hammered for it. So,
Right.
but every day is a new day, and it's a learning process.
That's right.
So,
That's right. Absolutely.
no.
All right, man. Well, what do you think about wrapping up here? We got
So your cat's ready to wrap it up.
this cat is I tried to do a sweep of the room before I shut the door, and apparently I didn't
sure.
do a good sweep today.
Oh man.
So, and I think you really
Oh,
want
you said sweep the room. All I can think of is you in like an AR-15. Like,
yeah, yeah.
where's that cat? There he is. You're not shooting a cat, people. You're just trying to scare it out of the room.
Yeah, right. Yes.
Yeah. So there it is. We went full circle with who knows what.
There you go.
Oh.
All right. Any final thoughts?
No, I'm still thinking about Jesus trying to just walking around the Middle East with the 12 disciples. I'm probably gonna think about that all night and what they just randomly talked about. We will never know.
Right.
But we do know he was the ultimate ultralight backpacker.
Yeah, that's right. No doubt.
He can save your soul.
All right. Well, we want to thank you for watching. We truly do hope that you enjoyed this episode and the other episodes we've done.
Yeah, we put a lot of work into these. So
yeah. I mean, it's a lot of fun, but it's the time and effort and stuff like that. But if you did like them, you can help us out. Like I said earlier at the beginning, hit that like, share it to friends, all that kind of good stuff. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. So other than that, I guess that's about the end of episode 3. So
episode 3, yay! It'll probably get a ton of likes because there's a cat in it.
yeah, right. Yeah, it's gonna be classified a cat video now.
Oh, did you guys see that cat video with the 2 guys? It got like 1 million hits.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they were talking about, but the cat was cool.
That cat's out of control. Next week we'll have my dog, people.
There you
No,
go.
we won't.
Good. His dog's a lot cuter than my cat, so.
He's off the chain. Anyways.
All right, man.
All
So,
right.
as always, we love you.
I love you. Oh, we that's right. We love you. I'm sorry.
That's
I'm
right.
right.
And God
love
loves
you.
you.
God loves you. Peace out.
Peace.